Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Powerful Presenting. I'm LeAnn Shaw, and I will be facilitating today's workshop. Before we get started, I want to ask you a quick question. Who in here loves presenting and public speaking? There's a few of you. Now, on the flip side of that, who in here has a real sense of dread about public speaking and presenting? Okay, so I'm assuming the rest of you are somewhere in the middle, and I really hope that today you see that there's something for everyone, no matter what end of the spectrum you happen to be on when it comes to public speaking. Now for me, public speaking is a very important topic because I truly believe that businesses are losing a lot of money because they have employees who cannot communicate and present well. In one of the books I read called The Exceptional Presenter by Tim Cagle, highly recommend that you buy that book if you're interested in increasing your presentation skills. And one of the examples he gave was an investment firm in Cincinnati, Ohio. They lost one of their largest clients. And after they lost them, after a presentation, the client had said, "We couldn't believe that you were managing our financial future when you couldn't even handle managing a 45-minute presentation." So, ouch. I do not want that to happen to anyone in this room. And so our objective for today is to learn techniques for becoming more powerful, effective presenters, and overall more successful communicators. And we're going to do that. This is what our day looks like. So in the morning, we will focus on earning the respect and credibility of your audience, tips for dealing with anxiety for those of you who absolutely dread public speaking and presenting. Hopefully, you will find a lot of value in that section. And then we're going to review best practices. How do I take my presentation to the next level? So what are some of the things I need to think about? After we break from lunch, you will have your turn to be in front of the room and do a quick presentation. I will coach you along with the rest of the audience here today, and that will allow you to leave here with some tips that you can work on so that you can really practice this. So does anyone have any questions about the objective or the agenda? Okay. So if you think of someone who you consider a powerful presenter or public speaker, whether it's someone that you saw facilitate a workshop or that you heard give a speech, someone that conducts really strong meetings, think of that person, and then I want you to consider what it is about them that makes them a powerful, effective presenter or public speaker. I'm going to write some of those words down on the board. Charisma. Storytelling. Passion.
Confidence.
Memorable.
Presence.
Informative.
Audience interaction. I'm just going to put interaction just to save time. Anything else? Well, I'm feeling pretty good right about now because at some point in the presentation, these things will be covered. If for some reason I do not cover something and you say, for example, LeAnn, I really wanted to know how to be a better speaker by being more informative. Can you maybe touch on that a little bit? So hold me accountable as we go through the workshop. We have all day together. I want to make sure that you feel it's a value to you. So the first thing I want to talk about is earning respect and credibility. And the reason that I want to talk about this first is because I believe that it lays the foundation for the rest of your presentation. And the three main areas that I've discovered that you can use in order to gain that credibility and respect from your audience is to connect with them, to be authentic, and to be passionate about your topic. Again, it lays the foundation for the rest of your presentation, and I would argue that it makes the other parts easier. It will definitely even help you with your anxiety, and it will help you to take your presentation to the next level. Let's get started with that. The first step in earning credibility and respect is by connecting with your audience. And you do that by answering the right questions. Now, I have here for you a handout so you can follow along. And then you also do that by being present and engaged, and by being empathetic and encouraging participation. So we talked about interaction with the audience. Christiana mentioned that. And so we will talk about that as part of connecting with the audience. So, with preparing by asking the right questions. So I have a list of some of the questions on your handout. And some of the things that you want to ask before you even get started. You want to ask, what is it that my audience cares about? Are they coming to be informed, to be educated, to be inspired? Do they need this in order to take the next step in their career? What is it that's motivating my audience to come to hear me speak? And once you know this, be very mindful about how you can add value to the people who are going to be in your audience that day. Because when you are thoughtful about how you're going to add value, they are going to feel respected, and therefore they will respect you in return. Another really important thing to do is to ask yourself, am I organized? I think sometimes when we're the subject matter expert, we have all of this information in our heads, and we need to think, how can I translate that into a presentation and in a meaningful way so that people can follow along with me? Because likely, a lot of times when you have an audience, they're not going to be the subject matter expert. And so you want to make sure that you don't speak over their heads or that they get lost. So just being very thoughtful with your organization. And then finally, ask yourself, how much do I know about the topic? Am I just getting up and speaking when I really don't know that much about the topic? Because there's a good possibility that your audience is going to see right through that. So ask yourself those questions before you start really planning further with your presentation. The next thing is to be present and engaged. Of course, eye contact, we hear that a lot. It's very important. Everyone wants to be seen. Now, I happen to have people on each side of the room and in the middle, and I don't want to forget about you because you're to my left. Make sure that you spread the love with your eye contact. And while we're at it, don't stare at anyone too long. You might make them nervous. Body language, stand tall, have confidence, show enthusiasm. Again, I put these things on the handout just for a quick checklist of things. Exude that confidence and professionalism. And no matter what, at least when you're greeting them, make sure you smile. Let them know that you are happy that they are there with you. And next I want to talk about being empathetic and encouraging with your audience. It's very important that you show that you care about them. Has anyone here ever been in a workshop or in a presentation and you feel like the speaker just really loves to hear the sound of their own voice? Have you ever had that? Yes. That is the worst feeling as someone who's in the audience. They're not really invested in me. They just really like to be up in front of the room. So let them know they are your number one priority. They're the reason that you're up here and the reason that you do what you do. The next thing that you'll see on your handout is to encourage the audience and encourage them to ask questions of you. And encourage them to answer questions, because this is about them and how can they take this information and really apply it.